This is Ruth, KM4LAO. Can all the campers asking questions go ahead and come up, please? And bring your question sheet with you. And Pat, can you go ahead and swap over? Can you go ahead and swap over to the You'll have to see.
So, if we do like a direct contact, do you always have to show the video? Like,
Yeah.
Okay. That's like an ARISS requirement.
Is the live stream on right now?
Yeah.
3 with the YouTube video in the middle. All right, I'm going to start in like 1 minute.
Ruth, are you there?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I'm just giving you a view over my shoulder, and then I'll turn my camera off.
Okay.
I'm sitting in Prince Albert National Park in Saskatchewan, and sitting outside. So if you see an elk go by, we have elk in the area, and they're just kind of curious what's happening today. So just in case you're wondering.
Love it.
There you go. They may kind of poke over my shoulder, watch the whole contact. They're interested in what's happening today. Are you good with your comments in the middle again?
Yes. We're ready for the play the video whenever.
Excellent. Why don't you get started?
Okay. So welcome everyone here in person. We're getting ready to start the ARISS Contact program. So excited that everybody's here, both watching in person and on live stream. So to start, we're going to play a video from ARISS, kind of explaining what to expect during the contact.
Video coming at you.
Hi, my name is Ruth.
And my name is Chris.
You must be pretty excited to talk directly with astronauts on the International Space Station today. While we're waiting for the space station to come over your portion of the sky, let's talk a little bit about how it's going to happen. Of course, Mission Control is in contact with astronauts all the time, using a big radio with lots of fancy equipment.
However, we're going to be using something very different today. We are going to use ham or amateur radio to talk directly to the International Space Station.
When most people hear the word radio, they think of a music radio station, but it's so much more than that. Radio actually refers to the unseen energy that transmits all sorts of signals using electromagnetic waves. At first, people learned how to send signals like Morse code, and then they discovered that you can send so much more, like data, computer signals, and even TV.
Maybe you don't realize it, but you use radio every day. Maybe you watched the TV this morning, or you texted your friends, or maybe even you check social media like Twitter or Instagram.
Let's travel back to space for a minute. Since the beginning of the space age, humans have sent many spacecraft out into the universe. These range from the Hubble Space Telescope orbiting the Earth daily, and the Curiosity rover exploring Mars. We've even sent a long-distance messenger, the Voyager 1, who has traveled outside of our solar system.
Whether it's capturing a great picture of a far-off galaxy or conducting experiments on the space station, radio has to do with all of these. And today, you're going to be using ham radio. Now you might be wondering, what exactly is ham radio?
Amateur or ham radio is a service and a hobby where operators can talk with people around their neighborhoods, their cities, their country, and even around the world. Amateur radio operators require a radio license from the government. They're not that hard to get. I have one. My call sign is KM4LAO.
And mine is KD8YVJ. Our call signs are a way of identifying who we are to other operators. This lets everyone know that we have the proper license to using the radios.
As amateur radio operators, or hams as we are often called, we can talk with others about basically whatever we want, often science or some new radio gadget that we are interested in.
Let's focus back to the space station and your contact today. Many of the astronauts and cosmonauts aboard the space station are licensed ham radio operators. That's why your operators today can contact them. The people here, as well as the astronauts, are licensed to talk to each other, and you are allowed to talk over to their radio.
For our conversation today, we'll need an amateur radio station on the ground, either in this location or somewhere else around the world. We'll also need a radio in the space station.
Anyone SS.
You can hear the calls coming. This is November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra, the International Space Station, over.
On the space station, the radio transceiver is connected to an amateur radio antenna mounted on the outside. One of these antennas will be used today during our contact.
For our side of the contact, we need a good-sized antenna, a signal amplifier, something to make our signal stronger, and a rotator for turning our antenna. We have to keep our antenna pointed right at the International Space Station. And remember, it's moving across the sky and fast.
To aim the antenna properly, we need to track the path of the space station exactly. NASA uses complex systems to track the path of the space station and other orbiting objects.
The satellite tracking program we are using works out a complicated set of mathematics to provide the orbital location of the space station moment by moment as it moves through space. This information is sent into the computer that controls the antenna rotator, which moves the antenna to follow the space station. Maybe some of you have seen or worked with robotics. That's pretty cool stuff. And just like you can program a robot where to go, what to do, and how to get there, you can also program a computer to tell an antenna how to track the space station across the sky.
You know, it took a lot of planning to get this contact. Several weeks ago, the ARISS operations team had to figure out when the space station's orbit would pass over this location. Then, they had to talk with the planners at NASA's Johnson Space Center. The crew's time is pretty full, so they were able to find a time that could work for the crew members' schedules. Once they found times that would work both in space and here on the ground, the host organized this contact. And in just a few minutes, you'll be hearing and talking to the astronauts.
Well, it's almost time for your contact. It will be exciting, so good luck with it.
All right, we're done with the video here. Can you hear us still, John? Okay, perfect. We'll turn it, students, go ahead and line up again, please. And we'll turn it back over to you.
All right, let's just do a quick audio check. Ruth, can you hear us okay?
Roger that, Brian. Hear you loud and clear.
John, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I copy everything. We lost audio halfway through the video, but you come back now. No video at the moment, but audio is good.
Okay, let's get started then. Hello, everyone. This is Brian Jackson, Victor Echo 6, Juliet Bravo Juliet in Prince Albert National Park, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'll be your amateur radio moderator for today. Through the help of amateur radio volunteers and the crew on the International Space Station, we hope to soon establish ham radio contact with the ISS as it flies more than 350 kilometers above the Earth towards South Africa. This is all accomplished thanks to ARISS, amateur radio on the International Space Station. The ISS currently is flying over the Atlantic Ocean on a southwest to northeast heading, whizzing along around 28,000 kilometers an hour. This contact will be performed using the Amateur Radio Telebridge Network, a worldwide network of amateur radio ground stations that enable students and youth to contact the ISS. ARISS is a consortium of ham radio volunteers from 9 nations that develop and operate the amateur radio station on the ISS. Some members of ARISS are the American Radio Relay League, the Worldwide AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Corporations, the Canadian Space Agency, the European Space Agency, the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, and the Russian Federal Space Agency. The amateur radio ground station that will establish contact with the ISS is ZS6JON, located in the home of John Saigo. John lives near Johannesburg, South Africa. Our contact for today is with Jeanette Epps, KF5QNU, who will be operating NA1SS aboard the International Space Station. Jeanette will be talking with students in the Youth on the Air camp at Mount St. Vincent University in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. At this time, we've asked Camp Staff Ruth Willett, KM4LAO, to please briefly tell us about the YOTA camp and the youth taking part. Go ahead, Ruth.
Brian, hello, and thank you so much for this opportunity. So Youth on the Air YOTA Summer Camp is a week-long event for young amateur radio operators ages 15 to 25 from North, Central, and South America. This year, we're thrilled to also have several exchange campers from Europe and Asia. YOTA is dedicated to fostering a worldwide ham radio community by connecting young people in amateur radio communications and STEM activities. This is our 4th year of operation, and it's incredible to see how excited and accomplished these young campers are. We're building the future of ham radio one camp at a time, and so excited to see where life takes them. So during this week-long camp in Halifax, we have operated on high-frequency radio bands from portable and permanent stations, learned how to log contacts for a variety of situations, explored software-defined radio, launched pico balloons, explored Morse code, built a variety of electronic kits, learned the theory for and built some amateur radio antennas, participated in amateur radio fox hunts, communicated through amateur radio satellites, and explored Halifax. While YOTA Camp has hosted Telebridge ARISS contacts before, this is the first time that many of this year's campers will be able to see firsthand how amateur radio is interconnected with life aboard the International Space Station. So through this contact, we hope to enjoy the thrill of using our hobby to communicate into low Earth orbit, better understand an astronaut's life and work on the ISS, and encourage young people in attendance to pursue STEM-related fields. Back to you.
Thanks, Ruth. Sounds like you've got lots of great activities going on. John, ZS6JON at our South African ground station. Could you please tell us a little bit about your station and how you'd like to handle today's contact with the ISS? Over to you.
Okay, this is John, ZS6JON. Nice to meet you all, and always great to have you guys on board. Always exciting for me to do. It never gets dull. Every time the space station comes over, the physics of it is just incredible. That somebody up there is talking to us, and they're so loud and clear. I live about 30 kilometers west of the city of Johannesburg. I've been here for most of my life and been involved in amateur radio for about 35 years, and the space program for my predecessors at S6BTD did it for many years, and I took over from him. So I don't need to explain all the technicalities from here. All you guys are ham, so you understand radio concept. I will take over the microphone just to call Jeanette. So you will have times of mute when I have control over the microphone, but as soon as the link is established, I will indicate to you, please ask your first question. So the first question needs to be, that person must be wide awake and listen so that we don't waste any time. I will be lifting the squelch, so you guys will hear the hiss, just to open up the radio to capture as much signal as we can. And let's hope for as many questions as we can. So good luck, everybody. Look forward to it. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, John. To everyone in the audience today, remember that even though we've done this more than 1,000 times, what we're doing on the ISS still really is an experiment. You can never tell how successful the results will be until the experiment is over. And just as one final reminder, and I think you already all know this, don't forget to say over at the end of your question. In about less than 2 minutes, the station should be come up over South Africa. John, we're going to send it over to you. Good luck today.
Good. Okay. Everybody looks ready. Are we ready? Thumbs up. We ready? Okay. Right. Yeah, she's just started to cover the continent of Africa, but that's around the Cape Town area on the southern part of the continent. So I've got still a few degrees below the horizon. Bear in mind, as I said to Brian, I have a very small ridge just behind my house, and Jeanette is coming right over that ridge today. So we'll do the best we can, and there may be a few calls before contact is made. So bear with me, and as soon as we're good to go, we'll get going. Thanks, everybody. I'll leave the microphone until I start calling, and I'll indicate that. A few more degrees. Okay, everybody, she's just hit my horizon. I'm going to start calling now. Let's hope for the best. Good luck, everybody. taken over the microphone, so you won't hear me calling. I'll switch in a second. Go ahead with the first question.
Hi, this is Samantha, KM4NSF. Can you describe the view of Earth from your perspective? Over.
Hello, Samantha. The view of the Earth from here is amazing. You see the Earth blue globe, and it's on in the daytime. It's on the backdrop of a really dark space. It's very deep black. It's probably the blackest thing you've ever seen. But at nighttime, when you view the Earth, you can see the atmosphere, and you can see the different layers, and then you can see the billions of stars, and it's mesmerizing when you see it. So the view from here is absolutely amazing and mesmerizing, as I said, especially at nighttime. You can see the Milky Way galaxy. Over.
Hi, this is Daniel, VE3FCT. What new technologies are being tested on the ISS that could be crucial for future space missions or have applications on Earth? Over.
Hello, Daniel. That's a great question. One of the experiments we were conducting early in spring was try to grow cardiac cells. And the reason we want to do that in space is because everything floats, and you can grow things in 3D rather than two-dimensional in a petri dish, or just a dish that only grows a layer of cells. Here we can grow things in 3D just as it does in your body. So that's going to be new, where you can probably, potentially in the future, if you needed a new kidney, we may be able to do that. So that's for future tech, deep future, but that is what we're working on here.
Hi, this is Lyle, KE0ZNV. How different is it to operate a radio in space than it is on Earth? Over.
Well, we have great people on Earth, like Ken Ransom, who helped set this whole thing up for us. So it's actually pretty easy for us once we're here. We just dial into the right channel, and we could talk to you guys anywhere on the face of the Earth. And we do this with our instructors help set it all up for us. So we actually have it pretty easy here when it comes to setting up a ham radio. All I had to do was get my license like you. Over.
This is Cynthia, KK7TLD. What college degrees do you recommend for becoming an astronaut? Over.
Well, Cynthia, I highly recommend aerospace engineer, and yes, I am very biased, but in becoming an aerospace engineer, what I did in graduate school was a lot of hands-on work. And you test it, and you do the analysis behind it. So experimentation and analytical work together work to make a great astronaut. But then also being out in the field and being an operational person. For example, you can be a scientist and know, or aerospace engineer, you can know how to design an aircraft, or you can be a pilot. You may know how to fly the aircraft, but may not know how to design it. And same thing for a scientist. They may be able to design it, but not necessarily fly it. But when you bring the two together, I think that is one of the things that astronauts can use, especially here on orbit, where you're the hands and eyes of a lot of researchers and experimentalists. So it works to your advantage to do engineering, STEM especially, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Over.
Hi, this is Grace, KE3G. Are solar events like the northern lights visible, and how do you study them from up there? Over.
Grace, the northern lights sometimes aren't available to us because it depends on our orbit angle with respect to the Earth and the Sun. And so what we do get, however, is the aurora australis, which is in the southern hemisphere. And it's absolutely beautiful. I've captured some amazing images of even the red portion of the aurora. So we have a lot of beautiful green aurora, but most of the time you don't see the red. But there's a red aurora that happens also when the interaction of oxygen with the atmosphere. You can see the red is above, well, it's closer to us here on the space station, but it's above the green layer that you see in the aurora, and it's absolutely beautiful. Over.
Hi, this is Jules, F4AY. Will you keep doing amateur radio activity after your mission? Over.
Jules, of course I will, especially knowing that we have groups like YOTA. I didn't realize that there was a Youth on the Air group, and it would be great to work with groups like you, especially once I return, to talk to people on the space station. You know, and the ham radio is one of the means of communication that we have. If all other communications fail, we can always use our ham radio to chat with people on the Earth. So it's an important, I think, ability that we have here, and we may as well use it on the Earth as well. Over.
Hi, this is Maxime, F4IQN. What's your favorite tool on board the ISS? Over.
Hello, Maxime. My favorite tool is, so one of the things that I have is I have a small quarter-inch ratchet with a 5/32 hex head on it, and we use it for a lot of things. So that's one of my favorite. I have it in my pocket now even. But also, my other favorite tool is the ARISS. We have to exercise every day, and strength training is one of the major things we do as a countermeasure to maintain muscle and bone density. So those are my two favorites. Over.
Hi, this is Joe, N1JOE. How does space affect propagation? Over.
Well, space doesn't really affect the radio propagation. What ends up happening is because we're going around the Earth, we can catch you guys on different, for example, you guys are bouncing off of, you're using the South African connection, and they bounce the signal from there so that we can talk to you guys. And I believe you guys are in, so these are in the Americas and Canada as well. So space doesn't affect it. That's one of the reasons we also, you know, we don't have to depend on satellites. We don't have to depend on, you know, signals on the Earth as well. The radio that we use is basically propagated off the atmosphere and bounced, and then so it's a long story of how we get it here on the space station, but we do have a ham radio here on the space station to collect those frequencies as well. Over.
Hi, this is Ariel, VE2SZU, asking for Millie, YS1YXY. How much does your spacesuit weigh? Over.
Well, it depends on which spacesuit you're referring to. So there's several spacesuits that we wear. There's a Dragon suit that we wear inside the capsule. That's less than 100 pounds, much less. If you're doing a spacewalk, that's a different story. That suit is your vehicle, and it is one that you use for going outside. It provides your water, your cooling, your ventilation, oxygen. So that one weighs over 300 pounds, U.S., not say U.S., but 300 pounds rather than kilograms. So it's pretty heavy. And then we have another suit that you would wear if you were arriving on a Soyuz. And then there's another suit that you would wear if you're arriving on the Starliner. They all have different weights. But the three suits that you wear inside the vehicles are always much less than the spacewalk suit. Over.
Hi, this is Caleb, KZ0P. How has your mindset and view of the world changed since going to space? Over.
Caleb, that's a wonderful question. My mindset has changed dramatically, and viewing the world from here, it's still a big world, but it's still very small. And, you know, it's small enough where we, as human beings, have to think about how we're treating the Earth, how we treat each other even, because we're so far from any other star. That's why in the daylight, when you look at the Earth, you only see this big blue marble in the sky, and then this black on the backdrop, and it makes me feel lonely in the universe. And so
I'm sorry to jet in here, but she's below the horizon. She's just about 1 degree, so I'm sorry everybody, but that is the window that we have, and that's all there's time for. Unfortunately, Jeanette is gone for now. I'm so sorry.
It didn't work. RIP. Oh well.
To everybody, a moment in history. Amateur radio station ZS6JON, operated by John Saigo, has just contacted Jeanette Epps, KF5QNU, aboard the International Space Station, speaking with youth at the Youth on the Air Camp in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Congratulations to everybody involved. Give yourselves a big hand. And now for the international volunteer team of ARISS, including the Radio Amateur Satellite Corporations around the world, the American Radio Relay League, CSA, ESA, JAXA, NASA, and Roscosmos. This is Brian Jackson sending you greetings in amateur radio term 7-3 from VE6JBJ. Congratulations again.
73, and thank you so much, VE1 YOTA.
Cheers, everybody from South Africa. Thanks again for all the efforts. 7-3.
Good job, everybody. This is V6JBJ.
Thank you.
You didn't get an answer to the question.
What? Yeah, I don't care.
Did you answer last year?
Yeah.